I decided to do something crazy. This is College Football Chronicles, and I am going to go through every single NCAA football school and pick the best overall player and most famous or notable depending on the school. That's right, I have a list of 663 schools across Division 1, 2, and 3, and will release mostly in alphabetical order, though I may skip around at times. Some schools are going to be heavily debatable, with many Hall of Famers, and some are going to be a struggle and a stretch to come up with even one name. Note that not all schools will have a most famous and best overall, just the ones that, well, do. This should be a fun challenge, and I hope you guys will join me on this long-ass journey. This will only be NCAA schools, so no NAIA or junior college. And remember that while these are heavily researched and based on facts, some will just be a judgment call based on my opinion, and sometimes I might miss something completely. Let me know in the comments if that happens. All that said, let's get on that chronic. The University of Akron is located in Akron, Ohio. I know, shocking. And started playing football in 1891, then known as Butchell, and were briefly coached by John Heisman in their third and fourth season of existence. The town is probably best known for being the home of LeBron James, but I guess that doesn't really apply to this at all. So, moving on. The Zips have competed at the FBS level since 1987 after spending time in D2 and FCS, and are in the Mid-American Conference, the only FBS conference they have ever been in. The Zips have only won a single conference championship in 2005, where even then, they only put out a 7-6 team. Akron has won the MAC East Division twice in 2005 and 2017 and tied for it in 2000, but lost the tiebreaker to Marshall. In Division II, the Zips made it to the national championship game in 1976 after beating UNLV 27-6 in the quarterfinals and Northern Michigan 29-26 in the semifinals. They ultimately lost 24-13 to Montana State in the D2 title game, who also just won the 2025 FCS title as of this writing. Congrats to them. Akron also appeared once in the FCS playoffs, losing 35-27 in the first round against Rhode Island in 1985. To date, Akron has been to 3 bowl games, having only won the famous Idaho Potato Bowl 23-21 over Utah State in 2015. Look, this is not a prestigious program by any means, and their all-time winning percentage sits just under 47%. On an individual level, the team has produced 1 consensus All-American. We will not have a separate most notable in this one, but let's start with a few honorable mentions. Jatavis Brown is a former linebacker who played for the Zips from 2012 to 2015, where he amassed 340 tackles, 41.5 tackles for a loss, 17.5 sacks, 1 interception, and 10 forced fumbles. He was named MAC Defensive Player of the Year in 2015, a year in which he set the single-season school records for sacks with 12.5 and tackles for a loss with 20.5. He was first-team All-MAC from 2013 to 2015. Brown was taken in the 5th round of the 2016 NFL Draft and spent 4 seasons with the Chargers. In 2020, Brown retired with 4.5 sacks and 2 fumble recoveries. Dominic Hickson is a former wide receiver with Akron from 2003 to 2005. In 2005, he caught the 36-yard game-winning touchdown in the MAC championship game with 11 seconds left. In his college career, he was named second-team All-MAC in 2005. He was drafted in the 4th round of the 2006 NFL Draft by Denver, but went on to win 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. After tearing his ACL for a 3rd time in the preseason with the Bears, Hickson retired in 2014 with 109 catches, 1,460 yards, with another 2,563 in the return game and 9 total touchdowns in his pro career. Charlie Fry is a former quarterback who played for the Zips from 2000 to 2004 as a 4-year starter. He broke an unbelievable 54 school records in his college career with 913 completions for 11,049 yards and 64 touchdowns, and even ran for another 429 yards and 19 touchdowns. He was named second-team All-MAC in his senior season and was named MVP of the Senior Bowl as well. That was not even his best season, as he did a good bit better in 2004, but whatever, that's not my battle to fight. Fry went in the 3rd round of the 2005 NFL Draft to the Browns. He was never able to land a starting job, however, and after bouncing around to the Seahawks and Raiders, he called it a career in 2010. For his pro career, he had 4,154 yards with 17 touchdowns and 29 interceptions. He has been primarily a quarterbacks coach at the high school, college, and back to the pro ranks, where he is currently, randomly, a defensive assistant with the Minnesota Vikings. Dwight Smith is a former safety who played for Akron from 1997 to 2000. As a senior, he had 10 interceptions and is that lone consensus All-American for the team's history. He was also the MAC Defensive Player of the Year and first-team All-MAC that season as well. Smith was drafted in the third round of the 2000 draft and spent time with the Bucs, Saints, Vikings, and Lions. He is a one-time Super Bowl champion with the Buccaneers in 2003, a game in which he recorded 2 interceptions and returned them both for touchdowns. He had 22 career interceptions and a pretty decent overall career. There's a strong argument to make that this should have been the pick for this video. Andy Alleman is a former guard who played for Akron in the early to mid-2000s. He was taken in the third round of the 2007 NFL Draft and spent time with the Saints, Dolphins, Chiefs, and Colts, where he played in 24 games and started 7. And finally, my pick for the best Akron Zip football player of all time is Jason Taylor. Taylor is a former defensive end who played for the Zips from 1993 to 1996. During his time in Akron, he recorded 279 tackles, 21 sacks, 7 fumble recoveries, and 3 interceptions. He was named first-team All-MAC twice and even started for the basketball team. Taylor went in the third round as the 73rd overall pick of the 1997 NFL Draft to the Miami Dolphins. He would go on to have a phenomenal career, and I'll go ahead and put the full list of accolades on the screen now instead of verbally listing them all. To highlight though, he was 6th on the all-time sack list at the time of his retirement with 139.5, with 9 defensive touchdowns. He still holds that record for a defensive lineman. Was Defensive Player of the Year in 2006, 3-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowl, and was the NFL sack leader in 2002. He is in the Akron Hall of Fame, the Miami Dolphins Hall of Fame, and in 2017 was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. For the sake of this channel, we will hold out some hope for the College Football Hall of Fame, but I get it. He was a much more accomplished pro. Since retirement, he has appeared on Dancing with the Stars in 2008, where he actually finished as the runner-up. That is not a stat I thought I'd ever be giving on this channel, but such is life. He has also been heavily involved in charity work and in 2017 began dabbling in coaching at the high school ranks. At the time of this writing, he can be found as the defensive ends coach for the Miami Hurricanes, who are at this moment still alive in the 2025 college football playoffs. Overall, the University of Akron is not a hotbed for football talent, but generational stars can come from anywhere. While we aren't likely to see anyone to challenge this spot in the age of NIL and constant transfers, you never know. All it takes is one overlooked Ohio State guy wanting meaningful playing time in his final year or something and wanting to stay local. As always, thank you for watching. Please let me know in the comments if I missed someone completely obvious or someone you disagree with or do agree with. Please like, share, and subscribe. This has been College Football Chronicles, and I will see you next time.